ठीक है. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Wasim Iftikhar. I'm the chairman of Northern Illinois American Muslim Alliance. This alliance was formed with the sole purpose of increasing awareness of the Muslim community located in Lake County, Illinois. Since its inception about 2 months ago, NIAMA has made a lot of strides due to the cooperation and enthusiasm of our members, of those living particularly in Lake County. Please join in supporting this cause, because Muslim involvement in the political process is a very important unmet need, and we have to really participate. Thank you very much in anticipation of your support.
My name is Amin Nadeem. I'm a physician by profession, and I'm delighted to say a few words about our Political Action Committee, which we have recently formed before midterm elections. As all of you know, changing political scenario in the United States since elections of Donald Trump. And the minorities especially feel intimidated by what his rhetoric and what he has said. So as a matter of fact, the recent results of midterm election shows that the people realize what is at the stake. So in order for us to do our part, we created this Political Action Committee in Northern Illinois area, and we have taken several steps to make sure that our community is politically engaged, and we have supported those candidates who are standing justice for all and whose values are aligned with our values. And I'm delighted to say that most of those candidates have won the elections, and we are having the program tonight where we are doing celebration, where these candidates are going to come. We are going to have more of a celebrations, cake cutting ceremony, and so on and so forth. So moving forward, what our goals are is to make sure we prepare people from our community, Muslims from Northern Illinois area, who can participate in the election processes, starting from local governments and then moving on to state level and so on. So we request all of you to pray for us, keep us in your prayers, and we hope that our Political Action Committee will be able to make difference in lives of the Muslim in Northern Illinois. Thanks.
Mayor, I need you to be here. So that sounds like how my mother tells me to do things. That means you better be here, right? So thank you very much for inviting me and asking me to come. As many of you all know, there's a special place in my heart for what you do. You have reached out. I tell you, the most touching thing for me, last year when I became mayor, when you opened up the mosque and you invited the community in to make sure they get a better understanding of what the Muslim faith is all about. See, to me, that's what leaders do. Sometimes we go off by what we see on television and what we hear versus what the truth is. That right there has made the Waukegan community one of the best communities on the face of the earth, in my opinion. So for that, I appreciate you and I thank you for your leadership and your honesty regarding. So let's give it up. And second, today, what it is an honor that in America we get involved in the political process. In the political process, we must put in leaders who believe and understand the values of his residents, of his voters. This is why you have begun this process, and for that you will find leaders who understand what it means to lead. So congratulations on this huge endeavor. And I think when people come and present themselves and understand your needs as versus others, then we'll find the right leaders who hold the office of mayor, governor, president, county board, potentially school board members. And to speak of that, we have a young man right here who, as I say, on the battlefield. When you're in politics, it's the battlefield. Going in Schaumburg. You know him, you understand. But his heart is with the city of Schaumburg. Making sure that Schaumburg has a broader view of what residents look like, talk like, feel like in that community. So I can't say, I'm not endorsing, but I can tell you, and he wouldn't be here if you didn't like who he was as a person. So as we move through your political process, engage in that community. Let them know what your feelings, what your vision, what your goal is for that community. The northern part of the state of Illinois has been forgotten because we haven't spoke up enough. But on Waukegan, on the northern end of the state, now with Schaumburg, we can forge this so the state of Illinois can understand we need help just like they do. So I commend you for doing this. But more importantly, I commend all of you for being here. And I'm going to take it a step further. You have your young ladies and your young men here to witness what it means to be a leader in our community. So take care, God bless, and happy holidays.
Thank you very much, Mayor. I know that he had prior engagement and he made it a point to come and he's rushing back to meet the other obligations. So we will be introducing candidates, and in due course we will also introduce people who have come here in a proper order. So I think I will hand this microphone back to our MC of the evening, and that is Dr. Nouman Haider. And we did, of course, we welcome our dear brother, Nafisul Rahman, who is standing for Mayor of Schaumburg, and we will obviously give him an opportunity to speak with you as we start the program. So without further ado, I think it's 6:45 almost now, and we will try to keep time and try to be on time. So I will request Dr. Nouman Haider, who is the MC for this function, to now formally start the occasion, and I thank you. So Dr. Haider, please take the microphone. Okay, thank you.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. So we first got to know Nancy Shepherdson 2 years ago. Wasim Bhai has been working with her for a long time, and we moved, my family moved here 3 years ago. And it was a blessing and an opportunity to learn about political activism through her. So she has worked so hard in trying to help us organize how to participate in the political process for this community. And when 2 years ago, the election seemed like that would take a different turn or ending, but it didn't turn out that way. And a lot of people stayed home, did not participate in the process at that time in many states. And we know what the results were. So over the last 2 years, we started to contemplate as to what we can do as a community to invigorate our residents in this community and maybe pass on this vigor and pass on this enthusiasm to other surrounding communities of larger metro areas where we as Muslims participate actively in the political process. So we started this organization, and Wasim Bhai, Wasim Iftikhar, who has been involved for many years, was the guiding light in this process for us. And with him and brother Anas and Dr. Nadeem, who has been involved with the Civic Engagement Committee of IFN, and many others, we were able to launch this nascent organization. That's role is how we as private citizens involve ourselves in public service, whether in the capacity of elected office holders or as private citizens. And here we are. And we did, in the last 2 or 3 months, several programs try to involve our community. And the result is that we have several elected office members here supporting our vision. So it's 6:45 now. This is a brief overview of our organization. What we will do is follow the timeline that is present in the schedule in front of you. So I will ask Saad Haider to come up and recite Quran so that we can begin our program for today.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اذهب إلى فرعون إنه طغى قال رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي واجعل لي وزيرا من أهلي هارون أخي اشدد به أزري وأشركه في أمري كي نسبحك كثيرا ونذكرك كثيرا.
Maaz will recite the translation.
Go to the Pharaoh, for he has indeed transgressed. Moses said, O my Lord, open for me my chest, and ease my task for me, and remove the impediment from my speech, so that they may understand what I say, and appoint me for a helper from my family. Aaron, my brother. Add to my strength through him, and make him share my task, that we may glorify you much and remember you much.
Thank you. So this is an excerpt from Surah Taha, where the Pharaoh was sent Moses, and Moses went to warn this tyrant of this time and sought help from his family and his community. And here we are also right now trying to uphold the values of humanity and justice, seeking help from our community. I will ask, so the agenda of this program at 6:50 to 7:10, Brother Wasim Iftikhar will give the overview of this organization, Neama, and after that, the elected guest will be introduced to the gathering by Nancy between 7:55 to 8:10, followed by a financial overview by our accountant, Anas Ahmed, and the future directions of this organization will be briefed by Dr. Amin Nadeem, and 8:20 we'll have the dua and prayer, and followed by dinner. So without any undue delay, I will invite Wasim Iftikhar, chairman of Neama, to come and give the overview of this organization.
Assalamu alaikum. First of all, I would like to welcome everyone who took time on this rainy day to be here with us. It is certainly a unique pleasure for me to welcome you back again. Our last meeting was on October 7th, when we were not sure of how we are going to move forward, and when many of the guests who are coming here today had blessed the occasion by their presence. We will talk about what has been achieved through your support later on, but let me go back to my memory lane a little bit. About 40 years ago, close to 40 years ago, When I became a naturalized citizen, it was probably one of the most important days of my life after my birth to this place, that I adopted a country which is probably the best in the world in terms of holding values that were near and dear to me, not only as a person but as a Muslim, where I was given the full right of citizenship. I still remember to this day when the judge said to us in a large group, he said, "Don't forget, you are now a citizen of this great country. You have taken the oath of allegiance, and you are now a part and parcel of the present and the future of the United States of America." But I remember very vividly the 2 or 3 sentences that he said at that time. He said, "Let nobody, but nobody deny you your basic right, and that is your right to freedom, which has been guaranteed by our Constitution." Those words stuck with me, and then as I began to see around me the importance of civic responsibilities, the things that come to my mind is that we have certain civic responsibilities that are bestowed to us as a part of this unique package called citizenship of this great country. And I can tell you that in order, it was very clear to me that I should have, first of all, I have to pay my dues, which are my taxes, so this country runs. So that was mandatory, and there was no question about it. I was also told that you have to perform jury duty, which is certainly, again, something as a citizen that I'm obliged to do. And of course, last but not least, I was given the right to choose my leaders. They're given the privilege of voting. The first 2 items, as you all know, we follow to the letter. But unfortunately, the last item, which should be as dear to us as the first 2 items, which is our right to choose our leaders, right to choose our system, which is our right to vote, has not been fulfilled to the dream of our 4 founding fathers. This was more pronounced when we look at the community of migrants, where, as the saying goes, birds of the same feather will fly together. We are flowing together in parties, and this is not a criticism because it does apply to me, that we are very busy with the social affairs and seldom have we assimilated ourselves in the political process, which is so very important to us, and not only to us, but our future generations. So with that in mind, having had the privilege of serving the community in my capacity as president of IFN, we felt that our hands were tied to the extent that 501c organization has its own rules and regulations. So we decided to form a committee called NIAMA, which is Northern Illinois American Muslim Alliance. The word Muslim has been done so that people do understand that the areas that we have to concentrate on are areas that we are experts in or have good relationships with, and we did not want to be over ambitious and say that we are trying to change the world. We want to change one thing at a time. So the whole philosophy, then I had the privilege of meeting with people who have similar views, and we formed a small board, and together we worked together to establish this organization, which is now your organization, which is NIAMA. The NIAMA part of it is an interesting concept. The idea is, as the saying goes, all politics is local. We wanted to concentrate on local because nationally we have multiple organizations who will have much better resources than we do. So if you draw a line, either it can be a horizontal line where you're trying to span a large geography, large population, or it could be a vertical pair where we are experts in certain areas and we want to develop that expertise. So as a group, we decided that we want this to be a state bank. So that is a brief background, and at this particular time, because I have a habit of forgetting, I cannot but express my deep, deep gratitude to 2 people who have helped us in establishing this organization. One was mentioned before, a dear friend of ours for many years, Nancy Shepherdson. The other person, seldom acknowledged, who has been a very, very big source of information to me, comfort and help, is Lorraine Gash. Lorraine, I'd like you to stand up, please. Lauren is a very well-known person in the in serving the community. She has served in different capacity, including House of Illinois House, as well as she has done a lot of work in civil rights and so on here. I cannot go, and I'm sure that Nancy will introduce her. We welcome guest now, Sean, the newly elected congressman who's already made his name. I've seen him in newspapers talking about environment, Mr. Sean Casten, and I think that's his partner, if I'm not mistaken. He's a friend and accompanying her. We welcome you. So let me try to be brief. I want to keep within the time frame. So if I could have this slide, this is an acknowledgement. No organization is centered around one person. This is our team, and everybody contributes to this thing. Equally, importantly, as you will see today, everybody has a share, and this is our board, working board of NIAMA. I have the privilege of serving for the time being as a chairperson, and Anas and Nadeem Amin and all those people you met before. And what is notable is that we have almost equal representation of men and women, and I believe me, women do about 80% of the work. And I am, without them, I can assure you that our task would have been extremely difficult. So I want to hats off to my sisters who really keep us on the toes and do all the major strategic as well as tactical work. So let's move on. Thank you. For the next slide, please. Okay, I want to refresh my own memory and as well as yours about what the goals have been set up early on. Because it is easy to forget the goals because the field is very vast. So the first field was that in helter-skelter way, we were really participating in the process. But the idea is that we do need to unite the community, which has not been as active in political process, and try to enforce the importance of civic responsibilities to them. So that was the goal that is the broad encompassing goal, is an umbrella for the rest of the other goals. It's important to assimilate rather than just be accommodated in America. We have to be a fabric of our society. We are not living in our grandfather's homes, we are living in for our grandchildren. So this is actually very important aspect that we try to encourage. And lo and behold, by the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is something that I don't need to overemphasize. The important thing is our future, is our youth. This has been mentioned again. We have to really do something about it to encourage them to really learn. They do learn in school the civic process, but we have to reinforce them in our homes and in our social gatherings. And very important, last but not the least, it is very, very important for a minority community to really look at people who do not spread hate. America was not founded in hate. America is a beacon of hope for the people who practice hope of hate throughout the world. This country is probably one country which sets the tone for tolerance. And having lived here 45 years, I can tell you that the difference is night and day between other places and here. In some places are as good as us, but we are among the best places. So we really have to look that we don't take away the sacrifices of Martin Luther King, the sacrifices of those freedom fighters, and we cannot backtrack. So we have to make sure that we are alert and we are fighting back any sense of discrimination on anybody else. Let me move on. And I'll try to summarize a little quickly because I know that I probably can go too much detail. What have we done? The last meeting was on October 7th, and we were really very, very happy to have most of the guests are here. And at that time, we did not know. We were told Lake County is probably of certain feelings and that those would be hard to change, so on and so forth. So we meaning not only the board, but many volunteers got together and started with the help of Pat Hayes, who is not here, whose daughter is not feeling well, but she has expressed regret. And we helped with Nancy, a few other people. We did start voter registration drives. And we went to different mosques, we went to different places, and we had 6 voter drives in about 1 week. and those helped us register not only for the day of voting, but for early voting, which, as you know, made a difference in some of the election races. We had a participation last time of even more people than we have today, and that stimulated the community in actually participating in the process. We have had educational seminars on the importance of voting, importance of participating in the election process, and so on. And of course, we provided whatever limited resources we have towards monitoring, monetary help. So let's move on to that. So, next slide, please. I'm not going to go into too many details on this because it's like self-serving cause, but allow me to say that the community really stood the test of time, and we really galvanized the resources, and we have done whatever we could in terms of this. But person doesn't live from yesterday. We have to start planning for tomorrow. So tomorrow is coming. Tomorrow is not too far away. Tomorrow is coming very soon with the coming election. So I'm going to skip this slide and just mention that the importance now is of municipal elections. As you know, municipal elections do result in something near and dear to our heart with the management at the local level, with school boards, municipal, so on, and you will be introduced to some candidates who have offered their services. So we are working on it. There are other actors. I like you to just go through, glance through it, because again, I'm just hoping that we don't take too much time, but we do have a plan to follow up in the legislative level, and then moving on to the year 2020, which is not too far away. If I could have the next slide, please. So the future plans are that we are going to do a lot more research than we had time to do it in terms of the position of different candidates. We will continue to mobilize voters and keep them informed of what the dates are, how they participate. We importantly, and I like to emphasize this, that we would like to work with other organizations with similar viewpoints, because synergies are very important in a political process. We will obviously have a strategic retreat sometimes in middle of 2019 to plan our course of action, and we have just giving an example of some positions, because as a political action committee we will have positions on different issues that are important to us as a community. Things like gun control, women or mothers against drunk driving, things of that nature. We really have to participate in these activities which are serving the good causes. So let's move on to the next slide. So in summary, as I said, in 2 months, it's not even 2 months, on October 7th, by the grace of the Creator and by the hard work of everybody involved, substantial progress has been made by the community, because this was an unmet medical need. People have volunteered without need for any recognition, and I'm very grateful to everybody for their participation. And in order to achieve future plans, your commitment is essential. We have to make it a point to really not only commit in terms of our thoughts and ideas, which are very important, but on the ground. And I will emphasize this. The difference in politics is on the ground. We have to get out of our houses and work like we did on phone booths. We have to call people, we have to call our neighbors. We don't have to confine ourselves to our community. We are Americans, and we'll have to reach out to every American that has similar views. And so this is something that NIAMA will continue to emphasize throughout. And Muslim Pact should not be allowed to fail. This is very important. We cannot fail, because we owe it to ourselves and our children that you need to support us, both in every possible way, because the concept everybody seems to, we did a survey, the first meeting, and almost everybody said we do need this organization. So help sustain it, help support it, and make it even more effective. Everyone should participate based on the capabilities. So if I could have a last slide, please. This is a little cartoon. You know, there's a Big Ben on the side, and there's a Leaning Tower of Pisa. And the leaning tower of Pisa is saying, I have the inclination, do you have the time? We have the time and the board. You should have the inclination. I thank you very much for your presence. Have a good day, and I hand this microphone all back to our moderator. Thank you.
So we are trying to organize the future leaders, and I will ask the youth who have been active in many of our efforts in phone banks and canvassing to come and say a few words about how they will become a part of this process.
All the youth in the backward.
Yeah, all the youth.
Hello, and Assalamu alaikum. I'm Hania. I go to Lake Forest College, and I'm involved.
Hi, I'm Manal. I'm a junior in Stevenson High School.
Assalamualaikum, I'm Maz. I'm also a junior in Stevenson High School.
Hi, I'm Sarm. I'm a freshman at Lake Forest College.
Hello and Assalamu alaikum. My name is Zahra Nadeem and I'm a freshman at Lake Forest College.
Hello and Assalamu alaikum to all. My name is Samaya Heather and I am currently a senior at Stevenson High School, speaking on behalf of the rest of my youth that are involved with this path. I'm up here to tell you a little bit about the inherent and complex realities of not only being a daughter of immigrants, but also a Muslim American. Growing up, I never felt that these aspects of my identity separated me from my peers. We were all kids playing kickball under one sky. The only colors that divided us were the colors of our jerseys, not any preconceived notions of race, ethnicity, gender, or religion. It wasn't until very recently that I began to feel the divisive nature of our political climate. The Muslim ban was the first time in my life that I felt uncertain about being accepted in my own country. I never imagined that I would be feeling this way in 2018. It was my cue to get civically engaged. If AP US History has taught me anything, it's that we've gone through divisive times in our nation's history before. What gives me hope is that this generation standing next to me are our future leaders of tomorrow. A tomorrow that continues to accept immigrants, protects our earth, and ensures the safety of students like us. We can't wait to be invited to the conversation. It's time for us to take initiative in representing the community that we live in. I'm grateful that PACs like Nyama give us the opportunity to meet with local politicians whose decisions directly impact our lives. It is important to be aware of who we elect and engage in the political process so that our voices are heard. Whether it's showing up to the polls, talking to candidates, or simply donating, I encourage everyone here to do their civic duty, because we need to emphasize the actions that show Muslims too are a part of the fabric of America's identity. Thank you.
Gives all of us inspiration to hear these words from our youth. And I would like to invite Nancy Shepherdson, Vice Chair of the Democratic Party of Lake County, to come to the podium and give introduction of our leaders elected to the office and others who are present here. And we really thank Nancy Shepherdson for helping us all these years, for guiding our community through this process of political activism.
The last time when we were here, we presented a small token of appreciation to Nancy for her long-term service to the community overall and for her deep desire to educate people in terms of political awareness and participation. Nancy, we have a small plaque for you on behalf of NIAMA for your very, very strong and very kind contribution. Nancy has been mentor to many new people, and she continues to serve all the community members, including ours. And so with you, from our, please accept this token of appreciation on behalf of NIAMA. Thank you very much. I would like to ask Nancy to please acknowledge the presence of our leaders here today, and please invite them as appropriate to have a seat here. I see so many wonderful people here. Lovely to see you all. So Nancy, I have a habit of forgetting and saying wrong things at wrong time. So I rely on you and not take a risk. So please welcome the people and have them seated, and then we'll follow the agenda. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the award. I appreciate it very much. I'm going to say a couple of things. You can't stop me because I've got the mic. But first I want to acknowledge my partner in crime, Patrick Watson, who is the 6th District State Central Committee. There you go, Patrick. And also I'd like to acknowledge Kathy Hayden, who's the chair of Newport Township Democrats. What a thing to happen. And we're just so pleased that you guys have gotten out and gotten active and contributed to the victories that we had. So much winning in Lake County, oh my God. At least one person here probably wouldn't have won unless you had participated and voted, and that's Jennifer Clark. How many did you win by? 18. 18 votes. And I'm really, really pleased, and we're going to talk to them later, have them come up, but there are numerous people running for local office now from the community, which is really going to help get you assimilated into the work that we're doing in Lake County. So I really am pleased with all of the people who have stepped up to do that or will do that in the future. So now to the main part of the program, and I'll get out of the way, but I will introduce. I would like to have all of the people who are elected on November 6th come up and join us here. Could you?
I know, same with Jen. She just said that. Nancy, we're including people elected on November 20th.
What?
We're including people elected on November 20th.
Well, exactly, yeah. Are there no chairs? So much winning! Never before in Lake County would we have run out of chairs. What I'd like to do is ask all of the people who are up here in order, or whatever order, we'll do it in priority order, to say a few words about what contributed to their election and also what their plans are for the future. And we'll start with Sean Casten, who was elected congressman on November 6th.
Thank you all so much. I'm sitting here reminded of some advice that I had an old colleague of mine in my days when it were not that long ago that I never had any political involvement. He used to say when we'd go into negotiations, you caught the car, Fido, now what are you gonna do? You know how like dogs chase cars? And you set goals for yourself, and then you catch the car and think, oh wait, now there's other things that I have to do, right? And so that's very much the moment that I, I'm personally in. But I think an awful lot of us are there. So I've just come back from a full week in Washington. We voted on leadership, as some of you saw in the newspapers. And you realize sort of the magnitude and the awesomeness of this responsibility that I've stepped into. And the first thing I want to share with you is that a lot of people caught the car. This is the biggest incoming Democratic freshman class since Watergate. It is, without exception, the most diverse class that's ever entered the Congress. We have, I think, 2 Native Americans. We have in Deb Haaland and Xochitl Torres-Small. We have 2 Muslims, and Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar. We have, as Mark Takano, the head of the Equality Caucus, said, he said they've doubled the size of the LGBT caucus in Congress, and then he paused and he said, as far as we know. And there's something sort of magical. I was laughing with Jahana Hayes, who's an African-American woman who's newly elected in Connecticut. And I said, as a white man, I'm used to people listening to me. And I found myself walking through Congress, and everybody said, in such a diverse class, you're not that important, Sean. We need to talk to all these other people, and I could sort of just walk through and be like, no, I'm kind of invisible. And that's pretty neat. And the consistent story that everybody said is how many of us benefited from the huge number of people who stepped up for the first time in this cycle. I never ran for any office before, and here I am, your congressman. I benefited from, I think every time we did a spot check, about 50% of the people who were volunteering for us had never been involved in any political activity. You guys, of course, have just created this whole new organization. And it's really pretty magical because democracy worked. And if you look at all the numbers, turnout was through the roof. People who aren't regular voters voted. And when people vote, good people win. When bad people get elected, it's because good people don't vote. And in this cycle, a lot of people voted, and that's pretty great. And so the challenge that now puts for you all is, you all just caught the car, what are you gonna do? Right? Because getting people elected by definition is sort of an oppositional endeavor. This person's good, this person's bad. And a whole lot of the grassroots groups, including a lot that were in Washington last week and celebrating, the struggle that they're all grappling with, some more effective than others, is how do you transition to an issue-based organization instead of an electoral-based organization? Because doing the issue-based advocacy well, if you're really doing it well, shouldn't be oppositional, right? We hold these truths to be self-evident. We don't hold it to be self-evident that 49% of the population doesn't understand that these things are true. Right? And so how do you come up with that unifying message? And that's a challenge for you all. I'm sure you can do it. But it's a challenge and a transition to make sure that we build on these successes and don't find ourselves ceding the ground that's been gained in 2020. As far as things that I'm slowly learning, and I don't claim to be have any significant knowledge of what's going on, but probably the most significant immediate thing that's going to happen after inauguration on January 3rd is this HR 1 bill that John Sarbins has been leading, and would encourage you all to follow it because I think it's a pretty neat package. They've been putting this together before the freshman class was there. We will have some chance to weigh in. Mostly our job will be to see that it gets passed, but it's a whole series of reforms essentially designed to strengthen our democracy. So reaffirming and extending the Voting Rights Act, providing greater election integrity, providing some fairly significant campaign finance reform. Now, realistically, with a significant majority in the House, that bill should pass. Will the Senate take it up? Will the President sign it? Probably not. And so what's going to happen, as I understand it, I'm learning all this, I'm just sharing with you what I've learned in the last few days, is there's going to be 8 or 10 separate titles in that bill which will work to pass right away. And then individually, those titles will be brought forward to pass again individually, so that number one, the Senate has the opportunity to consider maybe 1 or 2, and number 2, so that the public has a chance to really talk about that and have some public hearings. And so as that comes through, follow the bill and look to those specific things, because if you agree, as I agree, that those are good things to do, refocusing that grassroots effort that you all helped contribute to just a few weeks ago, to saying, okay, now we're going to make sure that these electoral reforms are done well, can hopefully convince, maybe some colleagues of mine across the aisle who are nervous about the way the last election happened are looking to 2020 and saying, I need to get some scores. Maybe we persuade them to come over, and the calculus for the Senate in 2020 is much harder for the Republicans, whereas in this year it was hard for the Democrats. So hopefully there's a way to do that. But watch that bill. We'll keep in touch. And as I said at the start, thank you for all that you did to help ensure success. Thank you.
To introduce someone who is very important to the community, very important that she won. I would like to introduce Mary Edley Allen, who's our new state representative.
Taken a little off guard. I thought we were going to go down in order, so I was kind of getting relaxed.
Priority order.
But thank you very much for inviting us back. And I was reflecting with Congressman-elect Casten how different I feel tonight compared to when we were here in October. I don't know about you, but I was feeling a little anxious. And if I could do a teacher move, by a show of hands, how many followed my particular race? It was a nail biter. Yeah, so on election night, I was down by 1 out of 50,000 votes, and then up by 2, and then just this past Tuesday, or a week ago Tuesday, was declared the winner with 373 votes. If this isn't a lesson on every vote counts, I don't know what is. So that I need to say that over and over again, that every single vote. I took some notes during the PowerPoint that I just want to go over quickly. And one of the points was one of the goals that was up on the board. And the number 3 goal was to encourage and support youth for future political leaders. When you spoke, you made me almost cry, because as a teacher, this is what my life has been. It's about the youth. I'm getting involved. This is their future. When you spoke of our environment, that was one of the platforms I ran on. Clean energy, clean water. We should all be supporting that. Safe schools. In this time, we really need to come up with some common sense gun legislation to keep our children safe. I'll just share a personal story. When I was knocking on doors some days 7 hours a day, I got really tired, and I just didn't want to do it anymore. But I thought of my students, I thought of my friends that are not of white persuasion, that are being let's just say they're not being days. And that's what kept me going every day. I would just reflect and think, I have to go to these stores to keep my kids safe. I need to go to these stores to keep my neighbors safe. So I want to congratulate all of you sitting over there for your involvement in the campaign. And I really believe that your involvement pushed us over the edge and won this election. That were brought up, we're planning for tomorrow, my friends. This is just the beginning. You agree? Yeah. And it's all about organizing. This, my friends, what we are experiencing is democracy in action. This is what our founding fathers had envisioned for us. People getting organized, creating your PAC in democracy. There's no more sitting and throwing things at the television. There's no more getting upset. There's making phone calls, sending out letters, making postcards, getting involved. That's what I would like to impress on all of you. So thank you very much for all of your support. Let's not make the next one this close. It was too stressful.
All right, next I'd like to call on Dan Dittich, who's also going to represent us in Springfield as state representative in Vernon Hills, Buffalo Grove, Mundelein.
Thank you. First of all, so I was here at your first meeting a few months ago by how packed the room was. And I just want to say I don't want to say easy, but it's easier to pack the room once. It's a lot harder to pack the room twice. The fact that this room is packed again, it makes me very optimistic that this group is going to keep its momentum up. It's going to continue to be a political force in Lake. Very excited about. I know the rest of the candidates are very excited about as well. And also that there's Stevenson students here. I'm a Stevenson grad myself, so that there's more Stevenson students getting involved in the political process is also very exciting to me. So why did we have so much success in the most recent election? I think the most basic answer is we learned from a lot of the mistakes that we made in the 2016 election. And we corrected them and we executed our campaigns from the top all the way down to the bottom in a way that would not repeat the mistakes that we made in 2016. We had a strong candidate running a strong campaign at the top of the ticket here in Illinois. J.B. Pritzker ran a very strong campaign, and especially his vote by mail program, which ended up helping a lot of the candidates on this stage. Jennifer, Mary, John especially can appreciate the vote by mail program that the top of the ticket ran. It had a lot of positive effects for all of us. And grassroots, a lot of our campaigns were really driven from the bottom up too. We had precinct committeemen across Lake County knocking on doors, making phone calls, dragging their friends and families to go vote, making sure that we didn't repeat the results that people like Holly had in her mayor campaign where she lost by only 5 votes. This time she won by over 30,000 votes. So I think we learned from some of those mistakes as well. And we had a message that resonated with the people who decide the elections, the voters, that there should be a healthcare system that works for everybody, and a tax system that's fair for the middle class. And we need to put schools safe, and our movie theaters safe, and our malls safe, and our communities safe. And that we need to have a government that represents everybody, not just the people who historically have had power or who have wealth through their successes or their family's successes. We need to have a government that represents absolutely everybody. And I think the results of this election show that we were successful with that. You know, Democrats took the Lake County Board for the first time in Lake County history. I think 180 years for the first time we're going to have Democrats in the Lake County. Democrats and Lake County voters, we elected Holly Kim, the first Asian American candidate ever to represent a countywide elected official here in Lake County. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but Sheriff Eidelberg, I believe you're the first African American candidate to represent all of Lake County.
That is correct.
That's right. I know soon we were going to talk about the upcoming 2019 elections, but the time to start thinking about the 2020 county elections, that also starts right now. Because there's no reason why in 2020 we can't elect the first Muslim American countywide elected candidate. If you're an attorney, think about running for Lake County State's attorney. Right. If you have a medical background, think about running to be our county coroner. If you have a background in real estate or property appraisal, think about throwing your hat in the ring to be our chief assessment officer. I think we need to have a community here in Lake County where every single person, voter, resident, citizen, non-citizen, knows that they are represented in our government. And the only way to do that is for you guys to run and for you guys to win. So we need your help. I know Lauren Beth Gash will help you, Nancy Shepardson will help you, everybody on this stage who just runs successful campaigns will help you. Please consider running for office. We need you and our community needs you. Thank you.
I'd like to introduce now our new Lake County Sheriff, John Burrow.
Thank you, Nancy. First of all, I want to let everyone know, thank you. When I decided to run for sheriff of Lake County, no one took me seriously. Everybody said that the incumbent would win. And I was able to win because of everyone here believing in me, supporting me, and praying for me. And on November the 6th, when the votes came in, it said that our incumbent had won the race. I was down 752 votes. And people started calling me and giving me their condolences about me in the race and I ran a great race. And the newspaper came out and printed that the incumbent had won. And great people like Nancy and Lauren told me, no, John, those early votes are still out there, mail-in votes. And those next 2 weeks was grueling for me and my family and my supporters. And as they say, every vote counts. That's right. Because on November the 20th, I was elected Sheriff of Lake County by 137 votes. And I cannot accomplish that without everyone here in this office, everyone here tonight. And we made history. We did. I am the first minority to ever hold that position in Lake County, and I am the second minority to be elected sheriff in the state of Illinois. And I want to thank you and everyone. And that's important. We're talking about, what are you going to do now as you're the sheriff? I will be honest with you. They gave me a list on Saturday, a list of some agendas that I need to address. Well, the agenda that I need to address is for our community. A better working relationship with the Muslim community and with law enforcement, and better working relationship with the African American community. We need to do that. And sometime, I'm not sure, like I said, I got a laundry list that I need to tackle, but I need your support to help me identify some great individuals who would like to be in law enforcement, because I believe my law enforcement should be a reflection of the community that I serve. And I need your support to make that happen. I want to say again, thank you. And I'm looking forward to making a better relationship with the Muslim community, with the Lake County Sheriff Department. Thank you everyone for your support.
And I think we're going to have a real new sheriff in town. All right, I'd like to introduce now Robin O'Connor, who will be our county clerk. Please keep me on your toes.
I know. First of all, as I look at all of you, my heart is just filled. Thank you so very, very much. Thank you for voting. I am so honored to be with you tonight. Tomorrow is a very important day for all of us. An important day for me. I will be sworn in as your Lake County clerk. And thank you. I cannot tell you how much I look upon this privilege to serve. Let me explain a little bit about Robin. Robin has been a longtime teacher. I've been an administrator in this area. And one day, actually I was a Libertyville Township trustee for 3 terms. And one day, I like to keep busy, I walked out and I looked and I thought and I said, I think, no, I can do that job. And basically I told my husband that night, I go, I'm going to run for Lake County Clerk. And my husband's like, you're going to do what? And I said, I can do that job and I believe I can do it better. And so my message to everyone, young, middle, old, if you believe in yourself, you can do it. Now, most people do not know of all the responsibilities of the Lake County Clerk. Most people know of the major responsibility of running elections. And I want to let you know that I will hold elections to the highest standards and follow election law. I am a real believer of following elections, following up, trying to involve and get better sites, looking to include more individuals to be election judges. I have quite a list and I am so excited to start. And again, thank you so very much. I've often told people that as a teacher, I play very well in the sandbox. So keep that in mind. I collaborate and I celebrate the democracy that we have today, and that includes you. So I expect to see a lot of you on the ballot soon. Good job. Thank you.
I'd like to introduce our spark plug, Holly Kim, who is going to be our Lake County Treasurer.
Sally Kim, and thank you so much for your help in getting me elected as Lake County Treasurer. Elect for now. Tomorrow we'll be sworn in tomorrow at 8 in the morning, and you're welcome to come to the to watch the swearing in. But the question was, why do you think that we all won? And I think we have to be a bit honest in that, for about a year or 2 years, we turn on the news every single day and just think the world's going crazy. I mean, not only is the news crazy, but it's getting even crazier. And just when you think it can't get worse, it really does. And really more and more of us were like, I gotta do something, like this is just beyond. And so we did see an uptick of people who, one, they don't normally vote aside from presidential elections, but they voted this time in a midterm, right? And there were people, but they're like, I'm voting. And it wasn't even just kids. It was like older people who have never voted before, and they suddenly decided, that's enough. Everything's going nuts, like I'm voting this time. And so, we have to be thankful that all these people decided to vote. But also, too, to get organized, right? There were volunteers that came out that said, I've never volunteered before, I'm not a very political person, but I can't take it anymore, and so I need to do something. So they knocked doors, they made phone calls, they were really out there, busting their butts, along with, everyone here who organized as well. And so, one, thank you for that. Right? Thank you for doing all of that. And it's true, without your help, some of these people wouldn't be up here today, because you were the difference between winning and losing for some of these candidates. And then secondly, what I want to tell you is that old saying of like, don't be a bunch of loose fingers, you want to be a fist. So you have this collective group here, and it's like an army. You're a bunch of troops that knocked doors, you made phone calls, you did all this. Now, some of the reasons why our opponents lost is because they started doing the campaigning all over again. Let's be honest here. My opponent, he didn't do anything until, it was past the primary. We can't do that, right? We have 4 years now to basically make this room double, triple its size. Next time we can't fit in this room because that's how many people you're gonna have who are energized. Because that way you can be ready for next time, right? And I also want to tell you that even though that, I think it's December 5th, is that filing for the local 10th? December 10th is filing for local offices. So you still can run for library board, park board, right, your village board. But some of them, like the library board, nobody ever runs for it, so they end up appointing people. So you can be appointed, but in addition to those positions, every town has commissions. So in the village of Mundelein, we have an economic development, planning and zoning, a cultural commission, and so in commissions, you don't even have to run for it, right? You just look for the openings and you apply and say, I'd like to be on this commission. Now, what that does is, you get to serve your community, and you can stop right there. But you're reflective of, hey, I'm part of the Muslim American community and I am active in my town. We are contributors to the society, and look, we're doing civic duty as well, right? You get to be that shining example. But then you go to these meetings and you learn how to do the meetings. That means if you want to, you can run for those offices later in the future and go, in my background, I served on blah, blah, blah commission, I volunteered here and there, and that all helps to get you elected next time as well. So I want to plant these seeds and encourage you all. One, thanks for helping us, but two, don't forget, it keeps going, right? We gotta make the snowball even bigger. As you know how that blizzard was with the heavy snow. If you just roll it, that ball will get bigger and you'll get more powerful. And that's what we want, especially in the ethnic community. And I say that even to the Korean community as well. It's one thing to be upset with the way things are, but it's another thing to help candidates so that when they get in, another thing you have to do is keep them accountable. Hey, we've put you in because we wanted these things, right? And so it's not over. You keep the relationship going. It's a two-way street. You keep talking to us. You keep telling us your needs, but then keep it growing. All right, that's all I have.
Thank you. Here. I'd like to introduce then in number order, Jennifer Clark, who's going to be the representative of the 15th District on the County Board. Libertyville, right here.
This is my district. Thank you again for inviting me here tonight. I have to say, when I came in October and spoke to you, it was one of the highlights of my entire campaign. It really reminded me of why I decided to run. I don't know if you know, but I live in Libertyville, and in this district, I am the Democrat board, and no one has even run in the past 10 years. And so when I was asked to run, I was told it'd be nice to have a name on the ballot for someone to vote for Democrats to have. I thought about it, and then I thought about my students. As I mentioned before, I'm a college professor, and I tell my students every day, you need to learn, you need to be educated, and you will change the world. You will protect our environment, you will respect people, you will succeed. And I thought, you know what? I'm gonna run for them. And I'm gonna run for Lake County. That's why I'm gonna run. And so I started, I walked, I knocked people. And I got really caught up in the campaign, and I worked so hard, even knowing it was gonna be a really long shot. And you know what? When I came here and spoke to this group, the enthusiasm that you had, and to see like the birth of like a movement and the energy you had really helped me get through those last few weeks. The last few weeks where all I did was knock doors and talk to people, and I met volunteers from your group that came out to make phone calls for me and for Mary. And then election night happened, and I lost. All right, I lost by 74 votes. And you know what, it was hard, it was tough, but I knew going in it was gonna be tough. But you know what I realized, and this is why I think, you know, when you're thinking about running, why it's so important to run, by me running, I know I got people who had never voted before to come out and vote and participate. I got people to volunteer. I got people that came out. I had many, many young people, everyone who came out and said, you know, I voted for you, and I voted for everyone else on the ticket. These people here, they got their votes too. By me running, they got votes. I had people that came up to me before the election night and said, you know what, I decided to run for library board because I saw what you did and I could do that too. I'm gonna run for trustee because I saw what you did and I'm gonna do that too. And I saw my students and my college students who kept calling me and sending, well, they didn't call me, you know college students. They Snapchatted me. They Snapchatted me their pictures of them voting for me. They thought it was so exciting. And they've never voted before, and they voted all the way down the ticket. And they took an interest in the election. And I thought, you know what, I helped build something. By working hard, I helped build for the next person, for all of us. I helped build to the future, and I helped build my positive message. And then I waited 2 long weeks, and they finally counted the votes. And I won by 18 votes. 18 votes. And it was thanks to everyone here. It was, because when you go down to it, it's only 10 people. I know it's weird math, but if 10 more people had voted for my opponent than me, I would have lost. So I think about everyone in here that made a phone call or told their friend, hey, there's this woman, Jennifer Clark, that I heard of, vote for her. Or my people in my Aqua class who were all over, my people in my Zumba class, the people at the grocery store, the people that said, hey, I heard, I checked out your website. It was literally every single person I talked to, every single person that helped, all the young people. And really, it was the young people. I mean, those who mails their ballots in late? It's college students, including my own daughters, okay? I'm like, couldn't you have done it earlier so that I would have won, whatever. But it was getting them all votes, so you all helped. So that's why, if you're thinking about running, like Holly said too, to be on these commissions. I've been to some of the Libertyville commissions. That was another reason I decided to run. Let me just say that they don't reflect the diversity that is Libertyville. And I'm not just saying it's about Libertyville, I'm not like slamming on it, but people, if you get involved, and also just try. No one thought at the beginning I could win. People, like, where are you running? I think there was, who are you running against? But you know what, I did. But even when I thought I didn't, I knew I helped build something. So please, I will make, if anyone is interested in running for anything, please contact me. We can sit down. It isn't, I was scared when I started, but it was worth it, people. It was worth it. I stood up, and as I said before, if not me, then who was gonna do it? And if not now, it was gonna be me. So please join me, and if you need any help, please do step forward. You know, join a commission, run for library board, help us, help someone else out. But thank you, and thank you again for your October meeting, because it really did help give me the energy to bring it home. So thank you.
Nominated Mary and Jennifer and Julie to the ballot after the primary. Not Julie, I'm sorry, not Julie. Jennifer, Mary. And they did us proud, so yay. Anyway, I would like to make sure that we hear from Julie Simpson, who actually took over from Aaron Lawler, who was the county board president. So, yay.
Keep it pretty brief and just echo what everybody else said. The fact that when we look at diversity now on the Lake County Board, we do not have a white man elected this time in a countywide position. So we've become, we elected a lot of women this time, And next time in 2020, I hope we continue that trend and we get the Lake County Board looking more represent what actual county looks like. And that's what's really important. And so one of the reasons why I won is also because of all of you. I remember last time I was here towards the end of the event, I brought in some yard signs, and we all know yard signs don't vote, and they don't really make people vote, but it re-energizes you that people are interested and people are excited and happy to support you. So every time when you're like, do I really have to go knock on doors again? And you go and you meet a friendly face and a friendly person, it just energizes you all over again and gets you through the whole 9-10 month campaign process, however long that might be. So thank you, everybody. I'm so excited to see so many people here again. It's wonderful, and I look forward to seeing you in the future. And if you need anything at the county level, please reach out.
Share my personal story. I wanted to vote in pre-polling. I tried going there, and I couldn't, vote because it closed before I reached there. So the only option I had was election day, and it was Tuesday. And Tuesday is the day when I have to pick up my daughter from school and take her to Waukegan, where she volunteers for underprivileged school. When I was driving back, I looked at the time, it was 6:30. I called my husband and I told him, I don't think I'll be able to make it. And I don't think my one vote will make any difference. He said, no, you try your best, and one vote does make a difference. I made in time, and I voted for you all, Mr. Eidelberg, Mary, Sean, and yes, it did make a difference.
Yes.
When I looked at election results, that's when I realized that being American citizen, it's very important that we do our civic duty. Only one person, when we think that one vote doesn't count, no, it does count. If you look at the Lake County results, it did count. And one vote did tip the election result in these midterms. And I would like to urge you all, please, this is high time, take part in your local politics. That's why I decided to take part in Long Grove School Board. I thank you all again, and thank you for listening to me, and long live America.
By the way, Salma is also a member of our board. She works tirelessly. Any time of the day, you can call her and say, this is what needs to be done. She really picks up, and mother of two, but she's really very, very active in our association. Again, I'm going in no particular order, so please do not mind the sequence. I would like to next invite, again, a member of our board, Ms. Farah Laman, a professional IT person who has been working. I know Farah for a long time, and 3 years ago I told Farah, why don't you run for an office? And she said, I'm too busy with my career, but now she has agreed. So Farah, please say a few words.
Thank you, Wasim Bhai. Hello everyone, and Assalamu alaikum to all my community members. Let me introduce myself. I'm Farah Laman, and I am standing before you. Hello? Okay, much better. Okay, I don't want to start all over again, but let me thank you all for coming here. I'm one of the board members of NIAMA, and I would like to take an opportunity to thank each one of you for coming here and making your victory known and be visible to everyone. Thank you again. And thank you all for coming here and helping NIAMA move forward. I look forward to your support because I am going to be running for village trustee for the village of Fatan Woods, and I look forward to your support. Wasim Bhai has always encouraged me to run for some position at village level, and I've always smiled and said, like, this is not the time for me. Jennifer, let me tell you one thing. Your October 7th, in your speech you said, like, if not now, when? And today I think it applies to me too, and if not now, when? So today I stand before you and I seek your support and look forward to working with each one of you. Thank you all for coming, and have a wonderful evening.
Farah is also a member of our board. We have 2 members of our board. She is totally in charge of all the website, everything that we need very badly. And do you want to say something?
One other thing that I want to say is I'm an IT professional, and going to the village of Hawthorne Woods, I would like to bring a new perspective to the village, and I have always learned to live with challenges, so I would like to bring in some kind of change or some kind of technological improvement, and bring in change with policies and procedures, so please help me with that. Thank you, and I'm motivated by all of you ladies here. All right. Thank you.
Okay, I would like to invite now Nadia Shah, an architect by profession, town planner, extremely talented colleague of mine in the board. Nadia, say a few words, please.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Peace and greetings to all. I'm going to take more than 30 seconds because I work very hard behind the scenes. It's my first election and I prepared all this. But my name is Nadia Shah, and I am a PhD candidate in the Department of Architecture at the Illinois Institute of Technology. I am also a resident of the village of Long Grove, and I plan to run for a trustee's position at the village board. I would like to share with you a little bit about myself so that you may understand why I am interested in this position. I came to the United States some 20 years ago with my husband and a bachelor's degree in architecture, which I did not use for quite some time. But we were blessed with 4 beautiful children. And when my youngest started kindergarten, I decided to go back to school, and I earned my master's degree in city and regional planning. And it was through my work with some of the most sincere and dedicated people in the profession of planning that, and we worked in some of the most distressed neighborhoods in the heart of Memphis City. And through my work at the Community Development Corporation, I came to realize how important these decision-making positions are. I realized that no matter how hard you try and how many selfless, devoted hours you pour into your good work, you are not going to be able to reap the fruits of it unless you have well-meaning people with the capability of making informed decisions at these positions. In all my years in the United States, I have lived in a variety of places, from small southern towns to the northwestern suburbs of Chicago. And I have had the opportunity through my professional education to work for the regeneration of some of the distressed urban centers of this country. And it is from this premise that I think that I can contribute in a positive way to the board of my village from a trustee's capacity. And I look forward for your support in my endeavor. And for starters, if you happen to live in Long Grove, I would like to get your signatures so I can qualify to run for the board. I need about 34 signatures, so thank you.
Thank you very much. I think that should be probably the end of the candidates who have expressed interest. Although there are some other people that have really come forward and said, maybe not this year, but in 2020. And today, this morning, I got a call from a friend of mine, a political activist who has worked for many years in DuPage area, Nazneen Hashmi. And Nazneen said, you know Miss Anjum, Rubina Anjum. I said, of course, I know her from the mosque. And she said, oh, she would be a good candidate for something, because she really wants to. Subsequently, I talked to her this afternoon, and she will be probably a candidate. She is contemplating for 2020. Just stand up, Joe, please, if you can. So we have a crop of people coming up and who are saying, who did not ever say 2 years ago that I am going to come forward, they are emerging and saying, okay, now we want to participate. So this metamorphosis is going to be extremely useful for diversity and representation from the community. And I think partly, I want to thank you all. I think you stimulate people. Sean, Congressman-elect, the Honorable Sean Casten, you have contributed, not just by speaking here, but by your presence, by encouraging people. That's a sign of leadership. And in my book, you are a leader. And by encouraging people, and I appreciate your presence. I know you had to come from down the road. You have a family, you are in Washington. Let's have a round of applause for somebody who's on the floor. Thank you. So, without further ado, our original plan was to have a little bit of extra things, and I will talk to Brother Amin. It's getting a little late. I think we are all hungry. I just want to find out, Anas, is the food ready?
It's not ready, but
It's ready to serve. So we will take another 10 minutes or so at the most, because I know some of you have to go, and then we would very much like you to have food. So without further ado, I would like our Vice Chairman of NYMA, who's basically extremely devoted to this cause. Although he is he's head of ICU at Levy Hospital, he calls me at breaks and says, okay, I'm in a patient, I have to go. I said, you should go. So Nadeem, Dr. Nadeem Amin, who you know very well, please do the rest of the short program that's left. Thank you.
Good evening, community members, elected officials. Thank you all for coming. Really appreciate your presence. What NYMA has achieved, what NYMA has been doing, we cannot do it without your support. So there are few statistics which were shared with me by Brother Rishad Khan, that in the recent midterm elections, Muslims across the United States, they have participated. About 85% of Muslim voters have voted. As compared to less than 50% in the past. So, of course, we understand nobody wants to say that, but there is a biggest motivator for minorities to become active in the election process, and that was hateful speech coming out of Washington. And it was not only disturbing for minorities, but also for anybody who has a sense of decency. So, of course, that was a bunch of reactive approach, but we have to be proactive. So we have done this. We have formed at the Lake County level or the Northern Illinois level, we have formed this political action committee, but where we go from here. So I'm just going to briefly touch on our next few steps. Next slide, please. So, well, this I just wanted to share with you. This is one of the biggest motivator quote I have read, and I just wanted to share with you. That rights of every man are diminished when rights of one man are threatened. So we need to keep be mindful of that. So if the rights of African Americans or any other minorities like Hispanics have been challenged, then the other people have to come. Ultimately, that's right. Everybody is going to suffer. That's what the message we are taking from what has happened in the last 2 years. Next slide, please. So next steps, all this require financial help. Okay? So we will be supporting candidates who are aligned with our message, whether it's at the local level, national level, or running for local offices. You know, like simple things like putting yard signs for candidates, flyers, banners, all this require money. So we have a very robust plan how we are going to participate in the election. The greatest thing about United States is this, that you get to participate in an election every 2 years. And if you look carefully, actually there are elections going on every year if you count the local elections, because there are going to be local elections in 2019. So it's a constant process. We cannot wait for 2019. What we are going to do in 2019 or 2020, we have to start working like from tomorrow. So these are steps which I'm going to share with you. Like, we are going to support the candidates that requires financial help. The other is youth training session. You heard youth, they are motivated. They are going to be youth training sessions by actually paid lecturers who will come and train them how to run for the office. Because not everybody can run for office. You have to have commitment, you have to have passion, and we are going to have training session, and when anybody who's interested in training session, they could be part of that, and then they can determine for themselves that they have enough commitment or passion to run for the office. And again, having these training session incur expenses and require financial help. And we are going to have consultant, political consultant, to have excellence for NEMA, to guide NEMA in the right direction, and the community, Muslim community, and the other communities in Illinois to be part of that. So again, that incur expense as well. Events like today, or if we have to expand operations of NEMA beyond Libertyville, Gurnee area, go to Barrington, Lake Zurich, Crystal Lake, or any surrounding villages in northern Illinois, that also require events like that, that incur expenses as well. Next slide, please. And last election, midterm election, what we did, we have a bunch of volunteers who participated in campaigns and phone banks, but this also requires more organized approach. Moving forward, we probably need to hire interns to run the campaigns and do the phone banks. So also that's also itemized expense going to be for our political action committee. And then will be like Wasim Iftikhar touched that area, but there are several causes which should be dear to all of us. For example, women against gun violence, teens against drinking and driving, murder against drinking, driving, students against destructive decisions. These are worthy causes. We are going to have our community people from these organizations coming and talking to our community members to raise the awareness about these issues, and be able to help these organizations with the financially as well. And we are also going to support our own candidates who are going to be running for local offices as well to help in their campaign. So all these efforts are just not going to help happen with the wishful thinking. This will require financial support as well. All these items require, it's a big number, but our tonight target is we want to raise at least $10,000. And I want to add one more thing, that you have option of becoming a gold member for our political action committee by donating $1,000. So far we have 4 gold members. Sayyid Mahmood is one of them. He donated $1,000. I myself donated. Dr. Noman Heather is another one, and Anas Laman. So there are 4 gold members right now, but that money has already been spent because that was for last midterm election. So we need money. We need to raise money so we can continue all this good work what we have heard so far. So I want to invite a dear friend of mine who has more expertise in fundraising, Dr. Raza Khan. He's an internal medicine physician, and he's going to help me to raise the funds. I'm hoping that all of you are convinced that this is a worthy cause. And as a matter of fact, I asked a couple of questions in our first meeting. First question was that whether our community is involved in political process. And the answer was no, but I'm glad to say that this answer has changed as of tonight. We've been involved in political process over the last 3 months like we never had. Okay, and Islamic Foundation North community has been was involved in midterm elections. I have never witnessed that in the last 12 years. So to continue that, we need to have a platform, and this political action committee definitely provides us the platform. So without further ado, I'm going to pass mic to Dr. Azhar.
Thank you, Dr. Aminuddin. Good evening, all the elected representatives. He gave me the toughest job. You got the easy job, I got the tough job. Here's my goal today. I'll be quick and short and sweet. My goal is very simple. Today, everyone here needs to donate. You know, any amount is not too much, any amount is not too less. You have seen what $4,000 can do. Imagine, $4,000, here we are, 10 people here, all right? These people were, lack of a better word, were not, you know, didn't think they were going to win, but they did. And it cost us at $4,000, that's it. Now, if we have $100,000, guess what we can do? Think about it. I mean, we can change the president. We will, that's for sure. That's for sure we will. I know that we will. And on that note, I do want to thank the president. You know, if we didn't have President Trump in the office, I guarantee you there will be 5 people here. I won't be here either. Because, you know, I say, oh, what the heck. You know, I'm paying my taxes, I'm doing my job, I'm getting paid, I have everything. So, you know, it's always good to give the credit when it's due. Even if it's to the devil, give him the credit. So thank you, Mr. President Trump, for waking us up and making us realize that if we don't participate, we will be eliminated. Trust me, Muslim ban is a serious thing. You know, now they're talking about chain migration, and if we don't stop it, and who's going to stop it? These people. Congressman-elect is going to go there, he's going to oppose it. Next generation of elected representatives are going to go there, and they're going to stop it. Our youth is going to go there, and they're going to stop it. So, here's what I need. I need, today's goal is $10,000, which I think is very minimal. So can I have, and now we want to also, it's important. We have these guests, we want to do some show-offing here too. We not only vote, but we write checks. Is that what you guys are looking for? Wonderful. So, you know, these guys work really hard. They knocked on the door, they did the toughest part. Is knocking on the door. I thought about doing it. I said, no, I can't do that. I just do the phone banking. I'm not that, you know, I still have my reservation. So we're going to show these people that we are willing to not only vote, but we want to support them in every way possible so they can have our voices heard. So can I have a raise of hand for $1,000? Who's going to give $1,000, please? Just $1,000. Here's a gentleman here. Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Please, $1,000. Anyone else? It's important. It's your future. You can pay it over a year. You don't have to pay today. You can pay it over a year. Anyone else? This is as important as giving to the masjid. I'm telling you, this is sadaqah. This is sadaqah jariyah. Our masjids will exist if we exist. So, all right, so $1,000, think about it. We're going to cut it short, but I would want you, all of you, to donate something, even $1, because it will tell these people that their hard work means something. Sayyid Saab, you want to give $2,000. Wonderful. Thank you, Sayyid Saab.
So, you know, like Dr. Azza Khan said, no donation is a little donation, so please feel free to donate any amount you would like. But I can tell you, if we have to function as a political action committee, we'll definitely need your support, not only with your time, but also with your money. I think I'm going to pass mic to Dr. Noman Haider, because he is going to take it from here. I'm not sure what's the next agenda item.
Thank you very much. It's been a long night. I'm sorry if I delayed your dinner. We have so many different approaches and so many good people saying good things. So as far as financial is concerned, I know that everyone will contribute something. So do that in your private time if you want, but do it and make sure that this organization is viable and think. I would like to thank everyone, first of all, for dinner. I would like our guests to go first. There's a buffet table. And I think Nancy, you want to say something? Again, my sincere thanks to everyone. I want to just acknowledge, just one minute, the board who worked very hard. So the members of the board, I just want to mention, Noman, you already know, Noman is very helpful, he's a member of our board. Dr. Nadeem Amin, Dr. Noman Haider, I already said. Irshad Khan is also a member of the school board from your area. I don't remember which area you are from.
24.
24. So he is already in politics. We have Anas, without whom we could not. Anas is our accountant. He keeps everybody happy, and he keeps a tab. I keep calling him, did you report? He said, don't worry, I reported 2 days ago. So he is very, very instrumental. And we have Farhad, 2 Farhas who are members of the board, and the other 2 you already heard, Nadia and Salman. Anas, do you, we will after, during lunch, if we have to say, we will do it. Dinner, we are now going to cut the cake. And then these people who are our guests are going to eat first, and the rest will follow. So Nancy, you want to say something?
Basim is too modest. And his list of candidates that are running for local office, he also appears. And he has his petitions tonight to run for College of Lake County Board. People will be going around, some of them with the petitions. If you live in Lake County, except in the Harper College District and far southwest Lake County, you may sign Basim's petition. So I hope all of our winners will do that as well, except for Sean. Thank you so much.
We want elected officials to join us over here for cake cutting ceremony, please.
She wants to take one picture. Have a stand
Come on. Come on.
Yeah, just move it. Where? Irshad bhai. Yeah, just please wait. One, two, three. Thank you.
Thank you.